the case. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think brings me maybe to the last question I was going to ask, which is just creating that perfect Google Ads system. If we're going to start day one, what does that look like? What is step one, step two, step three? Let's assume I've got a store where I'm selling some stuff, or I've got a business that is VSL driven, right? What is that step 1, 2, and 3 look like to really build one out? Because I feel like there's just so many choices. There's so many options. There's so many things to click on. There's so many things to look at.
In the interface, is it going to be like Google? Okay, so first of all, you have to understand Google is moving towards AI-driven campaigns, and it's really trying to move people into this new campaign type, or actually not necessarily new, but the latest campaign type is Performance Max. It's been the trend, and I think everybody eventually ends up using PMax. However, PMax is still in the construction phase in terms of transparency. It's not really showing all the details of the campaigns, and it's error prone. If you just give Google money and they promise like in the 4 weeks that it's running, it's likely going to convert. But if it doesn't, you don't know why it's not. And if it does, you don't know why it is. There's just a limited insight. I'm not like against using and testing that stuff, but if you're just getting into the interface and there's a lot of choice, I would definitely start with Google search. It's also why we started the masterclass with that. It's because you're building up that knowledge around the prospect on the Google search platform. And the knowledge, I think, is valuable for the reasons I've previously mentioned, not only to generate sales that, you know, could even fall in the hands of your competitors, but also to research on what people are actually, what language do they use in order to find your product? What kind of search terms are used? What are your competitors on the search field? So you can look at their ads and look at what they're doing on Facebook and compare and learn and evolve in your complete strategy. Okay, so that's, I think, where you should start. The second step, and that's also going to be under construction, is obviously Google Shopping. If you're running e-commerce and you're not on Google Shopping, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities simply because people see the product, they see the price. After they search for it and they haven't clicked on it yet, you're not paying for anything. So, right, you're only paying for the click. So unless your product is, I don't know, a terrible product and you're competing against 25 other companies or stores, it's just very common sense. Like, it's common sense that you're also running Google Shopping. Okay, those two things I would definitely take into account. And one of the things that I really want to warn people for is that they have to make sure before they run anything, they have to set up their conversion pixel the right way. And one of those, and maybe we're going a little bit too deep in this, but what I've seen a lot of the times is that because you guys, your community is probably running their store on Shopify. Okay, it's very likely that they have. And Shopify and Google are partners. Okay, they are friends. They go hand in hand, and it's because Shopify is getting a nice Google Premier Partner kickback fee from Google. So they have their Google native app inside of that. Okay, it's where they earn money. So what happens is that if you use the Google native app, and you're very likely just going to use it because it's very user friendly. You connect the app and you set up your campaign, you set up the billing, and you're almost done running everything just very quickly. But as soon as you start using that feature, on the one end, it's conversion tracking. Conversion tracking is set up through the Google Shopping or the Google app. And maybe your media buyer thought, I just also want to import Google Analytics conversions, and you set it the wrong way, and it's tracking 2 sales for each sale that actually happened. Numbers look inflated, I'll promise you. Okay, what happens a lot, I'm auditing, let's say every other month, I'm auditing a couple of accounts, and almost, let's say 4 out of 5 accounts, they have some issue with conversion tracking. It's either not set, if there's double conversion tracking, there's add to carts being used as the primary conversion, which is a little dangerous, or other like page views. Even there were page views being counted as conversions, and then on the campaign levels, I don't know, I had a CPA of 1 or 2. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit deflated in that sense. It's not as good as it looks.
Let me call myself out here for one quick second. One of the things that I've done, somebody taught me this guy, Chris, who's behind Blueprint. That's like the largest MCAT and LSAT test prep. But inside of your Google Ads Manager, there's a segment called conversions. And the first option is conversion action. And like, I saw once it was like $1.67 or something. I'm like, man, this is great. And I look up at it, it's like free ebook giveaway. Oh, we're not making it. Gotta be fair. I think the guy was also buying leads for about $2.50. So the free ebook giveaway was actually helpful, but like it wasn't the thing. If you have a bunch of stuff, it's the easiest way to QA ever, because the report literally tells you, okay, there's 173 of these things. Okay, 112 of them are this, 40 of them are this, and then there's 6 that are actually the one you want to go to. And like literally just figuring that out fundamentally changed the game for me the first time I saw that mistake. And I was just like, and he was looking at my shit because I was working with him. And oh my God. And I've done that myself, where I've realized that I'm not training the machine to actually try to do the thing I'm trying to get it to do.
Exactly. No, that's what the problem is. I think what we actually ran a test on Performance Max, like basically telling them, like, here's add to cart. So here's the problem with add to cart and other event-based conversion actions. Okay, and especially with PMax, PMax is delivering on, and for the people that know what PMax is, Performance Max, it runs through the complete Google Ads inventory. Okay, so we're talking about Google Search, Shopping, Display, YouTube, and Discovery, which is Gmail ads and the Discovery feed that people have on their Android phone. Okay, so what happens is it's just blasting out there. It's very cheap inventory because there's a lot of that, right? Meaning that it just generates a lot of touch points, and it generates a lot of data points. Of, oh yeah, inside. Machine learning is doing its job, and eventually it will hit successes and learn from that. However, if you put in there the add to cart or initiate checkout or whatever event-based metric, event-based conversion, here's the problem with the display network. There's a lot of shitty websites out there that are part of that display network, and it's being abused by bots. So what happens is they just see, oh, this is another site that runs. They're just clicking through. They're making bots click on the ad, and they feed Google with bot click events. And you're seeing, I see a lot of add to carts. I just don't see any conversion, any purchase from it. But Google is, this website is probably the best website to deliver the ads to. So it's going to feed that inventory with those kinds of sites. I've seen a lot of, we're probably not going to do that again. I think we tested it twice and we saw abysmal results. So not recommended. So don't do that. Like really stay away from it. And the problem is with lead gen, it's a similar thing. Like lead gen is obviously a lot of those is based on events. So if you're doing a VSL or that kind of stuff, PMax is probably not the type of campaign you want to start with anyway. Because again, you don't have a benchmark. You don't have the what is normal kind of thing. And if you don't have that, you easily believe that Google is doing a great job, and then you end up just losing a lot of money.
Yeah. My man, I really appreciate this. I want to take the last moment we have here and just talk about the masterclass. We've referenced it a few times, and this is Google search or Facebook advertisers. I'll leave it with this, and then you can describe it and maybe take us out with it. But I'd love for you to tell us the what, start with the why, and then get us into what it is, what people can expect, and what the outcome might be from it. Because I think earlier I talked about my experience, but I'm just one person. I would love to know, you came up with this. What is this thing you saw? Walk me through it.
Yeah. So I would say that after 15 years of BC running Google Ads, I've been around for a while. And I've seen Google Ads transform from a very nerdy technical kind of channel for performance marketers, turn into much more of a dynamic, creative marketing channel that can run top to bottom, like in terms of funnel. Okay. And what I found in the last couple of years, I've been seeing that development like gradually move towards those AI-driven campaigns, okay? Like smart bidding technology, if you just give Google a little bit of data and Google will optimize your bids so you're running a profitable campaign, okay? What I've seen as well, especially in the last 5 years since I've been more involved in agency world, where I've been speaking to a lot of Facebook agencies out there, I've been connecting with people like you on Geek Out as well, where we say, hey, what are some typical, I want to stay away from Google because they still have that name of a boring plain text channel. And so I just want to stay away. Yeah, we tested it once, but it didn't work. And I heard that over and over again. I was like, what? It's so easy. It's so easy if you just understand the principles behind Google. But then I talked to those Facebook media buyers, and they all just used all these, I don't know, all these phrases like this is the sneak attack framework, and that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Oh,
whatever method. Yeah, so all these methods out there. And I just understood that there's like, oh wait, so like this is just they just follow a proven process and they copy paste it on this like copy paste it to Facebook, and maybe it works fine. And they have another option and have another option, they have another option. But basically, there's like this nice playbook that you can go through, and then you have success with Facebook ads. That's it. With Google, I think that whole framework doesn't necessarily exist, other than understanding the difference, like in mindset, between those two channels. And if you apply the principles in that way, I think it's not as overwhelming as you think it is. So I try to place myself into the position of a Facebook media buyer. Hey, what is a typical situation a Facebook media buyer is in? And what are some typical pitfalls I've heard over the last years? What are some typical things that people have been doing when I've encountered, when I've done audits with them, when I've been training them? And then, yeah, basically combine that all into the masterclass. Hey, these are typical mindset problems that you might encounter and you need to stay away from. And instead, you have to do this when you start your new campaign. And basically, that's the first part. And the second part is that we're just going to walk you through the setup. Like, these are the essentials that you need to take into account before setting up the campaign. And then the actual campaign walkthrough, the campaign setup walkthrough, is the final chapter of the series. And yeah, it's been like super powerful, as you said. Like, you could basically do it. We do it live, right? We do it live in the session.
Like quite literally, it's like a 30-minute video, and you go from done, like from zero to completely built out.
Yeah, I've been I've been doing improv on, okay, give me a brand name that I need to mimic, and I'm just going to set up that campaign based on the existing ad copy in their Facebook ads. I use Facebook assets, like the ad library, and I'm just going to pull in that data, and I'm just going to let ChatGPT come up with a structure, and I'm going to show you how to import that in Google Ads Editor. It's like taking you by the hand, basically, from A to B and C. And then obviously we're gonna talk about next steps on like how to run it from day one to the first month. Yeah, and obviously expand with Google Shopping, which is, I think, the next step in the bottom of funnel that you should cover as an agency.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And it's super exciting. And I think what I love more than anything is it allows somebody to leverage what they're good at. And then it's a tool that does the translation for you and all the work.
Yeah.
And I can talk from personal experience, having done it. When I launched, day one was like $5, $6 clicks or whatever. Today, I'm getting clicks for $1.35. And the volume of traffic that I'm getting out of it has actually gone up as my budget is coming down. And just, I've been messing with it just to see what does this work. And I think even when following the rules, I did everything. And then I went back at the end and added some Facebook thinking. And it took me 2 weeks to unpack all the Facebook dumb ideas. And like, I DM'd you, I was like, this doesn't seem to work. He did this thing. Oh, of course. And even then, like, it's on my playlist to do. It's on my list of things to do today. Like, while having lunch today, I'm going to build another Google Ads, a search campaign from a successful Facebook budget. And like, the idea that I'm literally just going to be sitting here, like having some fish and on my free time, just setting the machine. Okay, do that thing. Cool. Eat. And then it's, I'm ready for the next step. Okay, cool. Hit the button. Done. All right.
Yeah, and compare that to the overwhelm that people feel like when there's, Google, no, I'm going to step away. Never mind. Let me play with Facebook. That's fine, but Google, don't touch it. But that's exactly what I try to achieve. It's so much easier to than people think. Just be sure, again, like, hygiene is everything. Make sure that you base your decision on the right data. And that's the data nerd in me that needs to set the disclaimer right there. Don't just throw like a huge budget to it and think that Google is just going to magically find all the customers. It requires some guidance, especially if there's no account history, if there's nothing in that campaign that has been proven anything. So but gradually, I think that's the experimental mindset right there. I think it's really cool.
I'll tell you the one optimization that I've been doing to it, and then maybe let you go and talk about, you can tell people where to find you and all that stuff. And by the way, the masterclass we're talking about, I'll drop a link down below so you can check it out. You can also just find it on disruptorschool.com. It's it's Google search for Facebook ads. It's literally disruptorschool.com/Google search for Facebook ads. Check that out. I should probably set up I'm going to set up a Google search campaign for it, like immediately after this. When people look for it, it's right there.
Smart, very smart. Very
literally
smart.
using everything we're talking about, and I'm going to do that over lunch, which is just dumb. Yeah. I'm so excited. But here's what I did. Is it made a campaign with 3 different ad groups in it. And one ad group was getting all the money and the cost was a little high. So what I started doing was just notching down the bid. Like, I think it was at like 100, like I knocked down the bid about 5% until the other ad groups started to get budget. And then the cost kept coming down and coming down. And I've been basically just bringing down my bid on a regular basis. And the cost has just been continually getting better. And the quality of the traffic has improved too. And I think I'm just literally telling, like, my impression is I'm telling Google, this is what I want to do, but I'm not willing to overpay. And as a result, it's just getting me more and more people. And as it gets more and more people, the quality of people that it gets me gets better and better. I don't know. That's what I'm interpreting out of it. I don't, as the Facebook guy, that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah. So I'm going to counter that thought a little bit. I think you're on the right path, first of all.
Okay, cool.
But let me address this. What do you think converts better? The number 1 position on Google search or the number 5? I'm not talking about volume. I'm talking about
I'm going to say probably
rates.
the number 1 position.
Why do you think that?
Because it's the first thing. It's above the fold, so it's the easiest.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather get 1 number 1 than 3 number 5s.
Okay, because here's the challenge. Do you think that people like immediately buy if they see 4 alternatives next to it?
Probably not.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, obviously, you're right in terms of amount of conversions, okay? Like, you're probably getting the most clicks, and therefore in volume you're going to get the most conversions, but you're going to also pay the highest price. Like, back in the days, you could basically optimize for position, like that metric. They've been removing that metric because it's not, it's so dynamic, right? There's one sometimes you see a video on the number 1 position, sometimes you see shopping, sometimes you see organic, sometimes you see paid. So they've gotten rid of that whole metric. However, the principle still stands. If you see the first thing that you see, you click on almost blindly. But sometimes the targeting is just off. Or people are like, and you're just grabbing all the number 1 clicks, but people are not ready to buy yet. And they see the number 2 and the number 3 and the number 4. And they decide to go with number 3 after they've been researching their things. And what happens is that in that sense, it makes sense that you're paying the highest price, the highest cost per conversion. If you're like just giving everything like to Google, please show my ad, top of page, I don't care. From a brand strategy, it might make sense because you want to dominate the real estate in there. But if you have margins that you need to take into account, you might want to start a little bit lower and gradually move your way up as you prove that conversion is coming in.
Yes, so this is my problem. Is I think I started the Facebook thing that I did is I started it with like auto budget or like a high bid, and I've been cranking my way down. And I asked you what was going on after I did that, and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna. But what I'm gonna do today, I'm gonna do it at like the dollar or whatever and work my way up. I think I started at like $100, and I'm knocking it all the way down. So
and you could really apply like 20% thresholds, like every other day. If you just reflect on the data that comes in, if you see that volume is going up, that CTRs are remain stable or even increasing, you could safely just add a little bit more to that manual bid. I'm talking about manual bids, guys. If you're going through the setup of a search campaign, just so you know,
I'm taking notes on this for what I'm going to do today, like literally right now. I'm taking notes.
Google is pushing for every automation possible. Okay, it's going to promote smart bidding. It's going to promote that you should maybe just set up maximize conversions, or you should set up like Target ROAS or Target CPA campaigns. It's going to move you into that direction. But if you don't have any conversion data, and you're trying to, for example, run your branded ads, your own brand, manual CPC is fine to start with. You can just gradually increase your bids and see once you're like, there's no rush. You can just gradually go up in your bids and stop when you see traction. And you can analyze metrics such as impression share, which is showing how many times your ad has shown compared to the number of times it could have been shown. For example, if your impression share is 90%, you've been showing up 90% of the time, meaning that there's still a little bit more like scaling room, like in terms of reach, in terms of ad impressions, but you're not going to hit like 100% without really paying the highest price. And for a branded campaign, to be honest, you should maybe leave a little bit of room for the competitors because they're paying the highest price, right? You forget about the fact, and that's also what we're talking about in the masterclass. is that quality is so important. Like quality score is a factor that Google takes into account. Hey, is the ad resonating with the search term? And is the landing page resonating with the ad? And is the landing page fast? Like those factors are very important. So for example, if your competitor decides to run a branded campaign on your brand, okay, a competitor campaign, I wouldn't say that they shouldn't do it. If they're doing it, it's going to be likely costing them a lot more than it's costing you, simply because you decided to increase the budget a little bit, and then they have to pay like at least 5 times the amount of money. Okay, because they're showing up for that same click, just not as often and much more expensive. I'm like, okay, fine. We haven't run like 100% impression share branded campaign for a while because it's been forcing us to really pay the highest price per click. That's just simply the reason. But for any other campaign, just so you know, you just also gradually increase your CPC bids and learn from that data first before you move into any AI-driven campaign bid strategy. I think that's my main advice for anyone who's starting. It's a different story if you're already running a lot of campaigns, you've been seeing a lot of success, and you're just trying to, I don't know, simplify your approach. Then there's different scenarios. But we can definitely talk about in a hot seat session, Charlie, if you're up for that.
Yeah, 100%. We can bring you back into Disruptor School just for one of those things. And for the folks in Disruptor School, they can get that too. My man, this has been super awesome. I really appreciate it. And let me leave you with the last word. I'll just say this. Thank you a lot. This has been super informative and exciting, and I'm really appreciative. And I just want you to make sure that if anybody wants to find you, they know where to get you. Anything that you want to say, anything you want to plug, let me leave you the last word. And we can go from there, man. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure that I was on. Yeah, people can find me on ecom-ads.com, which is the agency that I've been running for a couple of years now. But if you search for Rolf van Heerden on Twitter or on Facebook or LinkedIn, we can connect, and definitely we can talk about more advanced strategies if there's any need to. Yeah, connect and show some love. If you found the masterclass helpful, obviously, that's going to be highly appreciated.
I love it, man. Thank you so much, dude. I will talk to you later. Thanks, dude.
Yeah. Take care, man.
Bye.